everyone. I am Neetu Singh, a PhD scholar at Indian Institute of Science, and today with us we have Dr. Ramray Bhat, Associate Professor, Developmental Biology and Genetics, Indian Institute of Science. A very warm welcome to you, sir. We are pleased to have you at TreatDM 2025. So it was a very insightful talk that you gave in the session. Further, we want to understand, based on your recent work, how do you explain the formation of the advanced and glycation products help in disease progression with specific interest to diabetes?
So we are broadly interested in trying to understand what makes us normal and what then makes our body abnormal. And the switch between normal and abnormal is a emergent property of how our lifestyle dictates our health. And one important component of that are these advanced glycation end products. These advanced glycation end products are produced both through the biochemical metabolic pathways in our body as well as what we consume, and they are basically the end products of the reaction between very volatile metabolites such as these dicarbonyls that are laboratory studies with the normal biomolecules that are present within our body, like amino acids, proteins, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and so on. So when these metabolites bind to these biomolecules, they form these end products, and therefore these biomolecules are no longer available to participate in their native physiological function. And that's when physiology becomes pathology. And how this happens, and on a systemic level, how this pans out for the overall health of the individual, is what we study.
Very insightful, sir. Considering that we want to understand the health of the individual, there's a need to integrate the clinical science and further fundamental research. So what hurdles do you think we face in order to integrate or bridge between this fundamental research and take it into a clinical setup?
Like with any translational research, there is a very strong need for communities which speak very different languages, which have different vocabularies, to come and understand each other's vocabularies, to understand each other's goals, to understand each other's outputs. An output for a clinician is, for instance, very different from an output for a researcher. So a healthy and courteous understanding of each other's limitations, imaginations, conceptualizations are important. And when that happens, and when there's a proper match between aptitude and all of these, between, say, the clinical industry, between the clinical community, between industry, and between basic science, that's when these kind of translational research really succeeds.
Continuing on the similar lines, how effective do you think platforms like TreatDM prove to be in order to inculcate this collaborative approach between clinicians, fundamental research, and medtech as well as pharma?
I think TreatDM is a fantastic catalyst towards these things. In my experience, more than a sort of a structural bringing together of communities, success has often come about as a result of what I can call sparks flying. And when sparks fly is very difficult to predict. One can only bring together milieu, put people together, put very passionate individuals from different communities together, and occasionally sparks fly. But when they do, that in turn catalyzes change. And so TreatDM is that kind of a milieu where you have people from pharma industry, people from the clinical side, from the clinical community, and from the researcher communities coming together, occasionally talking to each other, colliding with each other, brushing with each other. And that, I think, through those collisions, even if a few sparks fly, I think it will be a stupendous success for all of us.
A very thoughtful word, sir. Finally, one last question. If you were to give an advice to the young aspiring researchers and clinicians, what would that be?
So my advice to the younger people, both from clinical as well as research science background would be that to not to listen to elders. One has to forge one's own path, and the only way one does that is by going against the grain. That's when new science gets to be made, new thoughts get to be imagined, and that can only happen when one sets aside what has been done and looks at problems through fresh lens. So defy seniors and make your own path.
Thank you for the advice, sir, and thank you for your valuable insights and your precious time. We are very pleased to have you at the Treat DM platform. Thank you, sir.
Entirely my pleasure. Thank you so much.